Hold on to your hats, patriots. President Donald J. Trump just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the nation to its core. On July 16, 2025, he signed the HALT Fentanyl Act, smashing the drug cartel's grip on America with a single stroke of his pen. This isn't just a law, it's a battle cry for every family torn apart by the fentanyl plague. Get ready for a no-holds-barred look at how Trump's making America great again. President Donald J. Trump stood tall in the White House, surrounded by angel families, heartbroken parents, and loved ones who've lost their kin to the deadly fentanyl crisis. With a bold flourish, he signed the HALT Fentanyl Act into law, a move that's got the nation buzzing and the globalist elites squirming. This isn't just another piece of legislation. It's a direct strike against the drug dealers, traffickers, and criminal cartels flooding America's streets with poison. The ceremony, steeped in raw emotion and unapologetic patriotism, marked a defining moment in Trump's second term, proving he's not here to play nice with the forces tearing America apart. The HALT Fentanyl Act amends the Controlled Substances Act to permanently schedule fentanyl-related substances, ensuring tougher penalties and tighter controls on the synthetic opioid that's claimed countless American lives. Trump, flanked by families clutching photos of their lost sons and daughters, declared, "Today, we strike a righteous blow to the drug dealers, narcotic traffickers, and criminal cartels, and we take a historic step toward justice for every family touched by the fentanyl scourge." The room erupted in applause, a testament to the visceral connection between Trump's action and the pain of everyday Americans. This wasn't just policy, it was personal. So, how does this favor Trump's government? For starters, it cements his image as a no-nonsense leader who delivers on promises. Back in his 2024 campaign, Trump hammered the fentanyl crisis as a national emergency, vowing to crush the cartels and protect American communities. By signing this law, he's showing the world he's not just talk. The move strengthens his grip on the Republican base, who see him as a warrior against the chaos unleashed by open borders and weak leadership. It's a political home run, boosting his administration's credibility as a government that gets things done while sticking it to the establishment that's let the crisis fester. The White House's own words echoed this triumph. "We renew our vow to liberate America from this horrible plague, and will not rest until we've ended the drug overdose epidemic." But it's not just about political points. The benefits for Americans are massive, and they stretch far into the future. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, has ravaged communities from coast to coast. In 2023 alone, over 70,000 overdose deaths were linked to fentanyl, a number that's only grown as cartels exploit America's porous borders. By classifying fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I drugs, the HALT Fentanyl Act gives law enforcement the tools to crack down harder on traffickers, from street-level pushers to kingpins hiding in Mexico and China. This means fewer drugs on the streets, safer neighborhoods, and a lifeline for families desperate to keep their kids alive. Small towns like Charleroi, Pennsylvania, and Springfield, Ohio, already battered by the crisis, could see real relief as the feds ramp up prosecutions and seizures. For the average Joe, it's a promise of safer schools, stronger communities, and a future where kids aren't dying from a single bad pill. The national impact can't be overstated. The fentanyl crisis has been a slow-motion catastrophe, gutting the heartland and urban centers alike. By targeting the supply chain, Trump's law hits the cartels where it hurts most, their wallets. The act empowers the DEA to go after analogues of fentanyl, those sneaky variants cooked up to skirt existing laws. It's a game changer for law enforcement, who've been hamstrung by outdated regulations while cartels churn out new deadly formulas. The ripple effect? Hospitals could see fewer overdose cases, police could focus on other crimes, and communities could start healing. Trump's vision of an era dorada for America, as he called it during his July 4th speech, starts with cleaning up the streets and giving Americans back their safety. Geopolitically, this move sends shockwaves. The fentanyl trade isn't just a domestic issue, it's a global one, with China and Mexico as the main culprits. Most fentanyl precursors come from Chinese labs, shipped to Mexican cartels who smuggle the finished product across the border. By signing the HALT Fentanyl Act, Trump's putting both nations on notice. America's done playing nice. The law aligns with his broader strategy of designating cartels as terrorist organizations, a step he reiterated during his January 20, 2025 inauguration. This could escalate tensions with Mexico, where cartels like El Tren de Aragua wield immense power, but it also strengthens Trump's hand in trade and border negotiations. By tying the fentanyl crackdown to his America First agenda, he's signaling to the world that the U.S. won't be a doormat for globalist agendas that profit off American suffering. It's a bold play that could force Beijing and Mexico City to rethink their roles in the crisis, especially as Trump dangles tariffs and sanctions over their heads. But let's not kid ourselves. Trump's move isn't without controversy. The progressive left is already screaming bloody murder, claiming the law is too harsh and could unfairly target low-level users instead of the big fish. They argue it's another excuse for mass incarceration, especially in minority communities, and they're not entirely wrong to worry. The Controlled Substances Act has a messy history of over-punishing the little guy while kingpins slip through. Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, who've been vocal against Trump's broader agenda, are likely to paint this as part of his anti-immigrant, anti-poor playbook, especially since it dovetails with his mass deportation push. Then there's the globalist crowd, whining that cracking down on cartels could strain ties with Mexico or provoke China's wrath. They'd rather appease foreign governments than protect American lives, and they're not shy about it. Even some Republicans, like Thomas Massie and Brian Fitzpatrick, who broke ranks on Trump's earlier tax bill, might grumble about the law's costs or its potential to overreach. And here's where it gets dicey. The law doesn't address the demand side of the equation. Addiction rates are skyrocketing, and without massive investment in treatment and prevention, critics argue Trump's just slapping a band-aid on a gaping wound. The $150 billion he's funneled into border security and deportations could have gone to rehab programs or mental health services, they say. Plus, there's the risk of blowback. Cartels don't take kindly to being squeezed, and violence could spike along the border or in U.S. cities as they fight to keep their profits. Internationally, China might retaliate with economic measures, like restricting rare earth exports, while Mexico's government could drag its feet on cooperation, citing sovereignty. These are real hurdles, and Trump's critics will pounce on any misstep to paint him as reckless. Still, the naysayers miss the bigger picture. Trump's not just fighting drugs, he's fighting the narrative that America's doomed to decline. The HALT Fentanyl Act is a middle finger to the globalist elites who've let the crisis spiral while pushing open borders and soft-on-crime policies. It's a direct rebuke to the progressive dogma that coddles criminals and ignores victims. The angel families at the signing weren't props. They were the heart of why this matters. When Trump said, "We'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our streets," he was speaking to every American who's lost someone to this plague. The law is not perfect, but it's a start, a damn good one. It's Trump doubling down on his promise to put America first, no matter who's whining in the peanut gallery. The signing ceremony itself was pure Trump, bold, unapologetic, and dripping with symbolism, held just days after his July 4th extravaganza, where he signed his massive tax and budget bill amid B-2 bomber flyovers. This event kept the momentum going. The White House's ex-post captured the vibe. Signed, sealed, delivered. President Trump's HALT Fentanyl Act is now law, and the golden age has never felt better. The crowd, including grieving families and loyal GOP lawmakers, roared as Trump wielded his pen like a sword. It was a stark contrast to the Biden years, where border chaos and drug deaths seemed to be shrugged off by DC insiders. Trump's not just signing laws, he's staging a cultural comeback, rallying Americans against the forces that have left them feeling helpless. For the MAGA faithful, this is red meat. It's Trump delivering on his vow to make America great again by tackling a crisis that hits home for millions. The law's passage shows he's got the muscle to push his agenda through a divided Congress, even with slim majorities. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who shepherded the bill, proved they can rally the troops, despite grumbling from moderates and fiscal hawks. The $5 trillion debt ceiling hike tucked into Trump's earlier budget bill gave him the fiscal runway to fund this crackdown without blinking, a move that's got globalist bean counters clutching their pearls. Looking ahead, the HALT Fentanyl Act could reshape America's future. If it works, overdose deaths drop, communities stabilize, and Trump's vision of a stronger, safer nation takes root. Geopolitically, it's a power move that could force Mexico and China to the table, especially if Trump backs it with tariffs or military pressure. But the controversies, overreach, costs, and international fallout will keep the fight heated. Progressives will cry foul, globalists will wring their hands, but Trump's betting the American people are on his side. And with the 2026 midterms looming, this law could be the spark that keeps his base fired up. Patriots, Trump's HALT Fentanyl Act is a shot across the bow of the cartels and their globalist enablers. America's fighting back, and we want you in the ring. Drop your thoughts below. How's this law hitting your community? Got a story about the fentanyl crisis? Share it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation roaring. Together, we're making America great again, one victory at a time. Who's with us?